Welcome to Wedding Day Podcast with your hosts, Sonia Babich, CEO of Iron Diamond Media, a leading wedding resource featuring 7 localized wedding brands across the country, and Dan Riggs, photography and videography expert and founder of Summit Hill Studios. Come along as they travel from state to state to connect with the most creative and well-respected professionals in the wedding industry. Every episode will arm you with the hottest new trends, wedding day tips and details, and they'll show you all the joys of planning your perfect wedding day.
Hi, I'm Jenna Cully, owner of Linen Effects Minneapolis. I bet I can guess the third thing you did after getting engaged. Number 1, you called family and friends to share the good news. Number 2, you started a Pinterest board. Number 3, you realized that you have no idea how to bring that Pinterest board to life. That's where we come in. Let the design experts at Linen Effects take your ideas and bring them into reality. We have everything, including floor-length linens, charger plates, table settings, centerpieces, candles, pretty chairs, lounge furniture sets, and more to make your event picture perfect. Go to our website at lineneffects.com to schedule your appointment today. That's lineneffects.com and see your Pinterest board come to life.
Welcome to Wedding Day Podcast. Today we're in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and we're here with Tyler and Kendrick from Two Birds Event Group. We're going to talk venues, we're going to talk DJs, all that good stuff. Welcome, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Wow. That's what we were hoping for. Oh. I was like, what are these boxes? And they're like, don't worry about it. And then, then I immediately was worried about it and then forgot about it, and that's awesome.
Well, I have to say that these two and this company, this team, always pulls out surprises.
Yeah.
Every time I see them, there's always something up their sleeve. So I'm really excited for this podcast.
Do you have the DJ horn that goes?
Yeah, it's actually my ringtone. Yeah.
I love it. Cool. What is Two Birds? Where did you get Two
Birds?
There's 2 of you.
Yes.
So, I mean,
It does start a little.
Two Birds is kind of to each person's interpretation. So my business partner is Ramsey, and so some consider us the Two Birds. Others consider the couples that we get to work with as the Two Birds. Oh. But it also started with a DJ company and venues, and so that is also a way of looking at the Two Birds with one stone. So that's where the name came from. And Two Birds was created as the overarching name to easily answer the question, what do you do? Who do you work with? And so we have those 4 venues, and we have the DJ company, and under the umbrella of Two Birds, we just launched our next endeavor, which is The Journey, which is our planning service as well.
So your first venue, of course, kind of the mothership that all started this was the Ivy House.
Yep.
So, and this was also a historic building, am I correct?
Yeah, it's Milwaukee, so every building's kind of historic. So Ramsey and I, we've been working as DJs for years, and we knew that we wanted to stay in this business. We love it, and we wanted to find other ways to connect with couples. And so we started the search for venues very early on, and we had some awesome projects, everything from giant Girl Scout camps of 70 acres for big, huge experiences to geodesic domes to barns, obviously. And so when we came across the Ivy House, it was an old, dilapidated nightclub. And we had all of these images of greenery and space and nature, but we could never marry the concept of the logistics that are difficult when you have to go further away from airports and hotels and all that. And so for us, the Ivy House was the opportunity to bring all that nature downtown in a light industrial building and make it all sing together. And so we found it. We walked into the nightclub owner and we started with, "Are you for sale?" And he said no, and we're like, perfect. That's where we will start this conversation. And a year later, we owned it and renovated it and became the Ivy House.
The details in this space are so cool.
Thank you.
When I first met Tyler, you were talking about, we painted it blue, and it wasn't the color.
It wasn't the color.
And I love that because that just shows like venues actually care what their venue communicates to their future couple that has their wedding there. And you're like, it's green. And it is. This is the perfect green.
We didn't have a name then either, so we didn't know. And then it turned into us putting like 10 huge swatches of color on the side of the building. Within black, we wrote under it like just put a marker next to the ones you guys like, and then anybody that was walking got to put in a vote for it.
That's
I love
brilliant.
Isn't
And
that
we
great?
chose the one that had the most votes for it.
Dude.
We're like, okay, that's it.
That's
And we
it.
painted the whole building.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
so genius.
And the cool thing when you walk in, there's ivy everywhere.
Yeah.
And they have a specialist that comes in and cleans the ivy.
I was going to say, is it
hydrates
real ivy?
Yeah. We don't have any fake plants in any of our venues.
Yeah.
And so it is real ivy. His name's Andy, and he is magical. He comes in every Wednesday, and he spends all 8 hours just talking to them, picking at them, naming them, whatever he's got to do to keep them going well.
I witnessed it. I
Yeah,
actually had
he's
witnessed
very
it.
passionate. And when you're passionate about something, you do it with excellence. So he's awesome. And yeah, they're only just taking over the place more and more and more.
I think that's one of my favorite things is looking back at some of the original photos when everything just gets planted and everything's just in individual little planters, and now you walk in and it's night and day. It's like a Jurassic Park or a Jungle Book as far as it's kind of taken over the vegetation, and it's really cool to
It's
watch.
like a family that you guys grew together.
Yeah.
Well, they kind of are a family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not only connections inside of the team we have, a family, but so many of us are married and, connected in that way, and our kids come by, and it's been a really wonderful way to grow a team together. It's been really blessing.
That is
Yeah.
That's so cool. And then finally you added more venues onto the
Yep.
plate.
But before we leave Ivy House, we have a gift.
What?
So we have, we wanted to set the mood here as well.
Oh, nice.
So we have some candles for you guys. So there
yes.
you go.
I love they have
nice.
candles. See, look at the details.
Yeah, we gotta make
the
sure
Ivy
that we
House.
are cool and comfortable here today. So
I want to light mine off of this pyrotechnic machine back here.
Very nice. Very good. Well, thank you.
that smell
that
is
great?
also like a custom smell that we have with a local purveyor that are great to work with. That couples can come in and get their own scents put together and their own little fun ideas. Yeah.
You are all about the local. They made actually a local painted wall. And what's the message again on the painted wall?
Enjoy the journey.
Like a
Yeah.
local artist did the mural?
Yeah, they never touched mural before. They were just a local artist that we actually knew back through high school, and we had looked for a long time. There are a lot of decisions that we make day in and day out, whether it's critical decisions at an event or choosing a wallpaper at a venue, and there was something about the mural that was it was more than us. It was bigger than us. It was something that people weren't going to come inside and just see our walls and what we chose to do. And so we were really reflective on what we were adding to the community and adding to Walker's Point here in Milwaukee. And so we wanted it to be positive, but we didn't want it to be too wedding focused. We wanted it to speak to everyone. And so we went with Enjoy the Journey. And what we have found is not only do our couples love taking photos in front of it, but random weddings will stop by. We've had graduations stop by. It's part of the tours of Milwaukee, and they'll just stop by with 60 visitors and take photos in front of it. So people seem to really enjoy it, which is nice. It's actually his wife, Abby, who works with us. She's been working with us as our original team, and we had a bunch of artists give it a shot, and she all of a sudden raised her hand, and she's like, can I give it a shot? And then she crushed it. So that's the design we went with. And then
Abby painted it?
she designed it, and then we had an artist come in to actually paint it.
Oh,
Way
wow.
to go, Abby.
Yeah.
Abby got us Cokes today. Abby found us furniture for this. Abby's amazing. Give her a
She's
shout out.
a Jill of all
Yeah.
trades for
Oh,
sure.
and she's 10 months pregnant right now. Yeah.
10 months
Yeah,
pregnant.
oh yeah.
She started moving furniture around. I'm like, stop it!
Yeah, she's ready to go.
Like, I'm trying to get this baby out.
The rock star.
Whatever it takes.
That's not her
So
voice.
with each venue that you've opened, I'm sure you have customized it around a path or a reason.
Yeah.
So what are all the different venues that you have?
So we have that one. That one came along. Ivy House came along at around the same time as Filament. Filament, like a lot of venues, well, some venues, they had a previous life, right? They were some sort of other venue, and then somebody comes in and breathes their life into it and sees what happens. So for that one, it was called the Seaboth, and then we came in and we created the Filament. It's very important to us that we don't change a space to become what we want it to be, but we enhance what it is. And so for Filament, it is this beautiful Cream City brick, natural timber building. And to bring in loud wallpapers or colors would just take from the space. And so everything we've done is just to enhance it with our colors, our lights, and that's where Filament came from. So we have over 60 unique filament style bulbs that hang there, all of different shapes and sizes, and it really just adds to that ambiance. So that one's Filament. We have the Starling, which is in the third ward, so a different area, different energy. So we went with modern, bright, vibrant. It's right on the river with the boardwalk, and so we added a lot of nature to that space as well. So big, huge moss wall, big letters that scream MKE, and certain clients are drawn to that one versus Filament versus Ivy House because they each can scratch a different itch, and it's up to the couples to choose which one sings to them. And then recently, we've been asked by the Historical Society to help them with the next 10 years of this property. So they've had great people operating this space as a museum and as a venue and as a bank for years, and it is now our chance to run it as a venue for the next 10 years with them. They've been awesome partners for this space. There's nothing that we want to do or change or could, and it's perfect how it is, and our job is to just bring the couples in and show them what they're missing.
So what's the next thing up your sleeve? I know we
I
have
knew you'd ask that.
like wedding planning and
Yeah, the wedding planning was the next thing. It was another opportunity for us to have that connection with couples and to be able to offer a service that is more total. And we wanted to have that opportunity with them, but we never take our foot off the gas. And so we do often meet with developers, and there are properties that are up in discussion right now. We do hope to procure a new space in the next month or two here, and you will be the first phone call when that happens.
because we like to be the
Yep.
news for the Wisconsin bride
Yep.
community.
For sure. It's very fun to be a part of because we get to see a lot of things that are happening in the undertow of Milwaukee, and it's wonderful to see how much people are investing in it and the development that are coming into it, and whether it's Chicago or other outfits coming in to help and kind of take our offering to the next level.
So we had some cool sparks. What do you call those
Cold
things?
sparks.
Cold sparks.
Yeah, you can frolic through them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys.
Frolic?
Yeah, sure, why not?
I'm not going to frolic through that. In fact, when they went off, I almost ran from them, screaming. So you guys also have a DJ business, right?
Yeah.
And what is the company name again?
Milwaukee Airwaves.
Okay.
Yep, is the name of the DJ and production side of things.
So I'm assuming that is the DJ of choice at these wonderful venues, but I'm sure you can kind of venture out into other venues as well, right?
Yeah, most definitely. So obviously exclusive with all of our venues. We also hold an exclusive partnership with the Fitzgerald, which is run by the Pabst Group, which is fantastic. And then we're also everywhere. You name a venue, we've probably been there at least a half dozen times, if not more, which is super fantastic.
When they start their wedding planning journey with you,
Yeah.
and you get the first call, the first email, DM, because that's happening now is DMs.
Oh, yeah.
Like, how does that kick off with that process with you? How do you start holding their hand?
Yeah, for us, it's telling them a little bit more about us, what we provide. I think the thing that's truly special about what we try to do is we want to enhance what the couple's vision is for the day, not put just kind of our blanket sticker on everything. Obviously, there's always going to be a little bit of us in it because they're hiring us for a reason, but I think it's how do we tailor that experience to that couple. Everything from music selection and music choices so it feels like their day, to the bells and whistles, right? The cold sparks, the extra lighting, the big screen of projectors or TVs and embellishments, and we can kind of go anywhere with it, or we can be
wow.
super streamlined as well. Again, it's kind of helping fulfill their vision.
So I'm a videographer, and one of the things that I noticed about DJs specifically is the MC part of the equation is so important. You really have to have somebody who can command a room, somebody who can, just knows what the next step is, you're basically like, if they don't have a wedding planner, the DJ becomes the pseudo wedding planner. You're the one that keeps everything on time, and
You're you communicate to
Yeah.
the guests, like, this is what's coming up, folks. Don't miss it.
The guests, the other vendors, you name it. We get our hands in pretty much everything on that day.
So I would say, would you say that MC is just as important part of the equation as DJ is for the evening?
Yeah, 100%. I think the thing that I like to communicate to everyone we have the opportunity to talk to about what we provide is that I always say we're more than a DJ. And MC is a huge part of it, right? Again, kind of coordinating with every other vendor, making sure that everyone's either on time or ebbing and flowing, because we all know timelines are guidelines more than anything. So kind of ebbing and flowing as the day goes naturally, and kind of pushing and pulling where we need to, commanding the room, kind of making those announcements, things like that. But that's also doesn't have to be where it stops either. For us, it's what needs to be done, to make the day great. These couples spend so much time, money, blood, sweat, tears, you name it all, like leading up to the day, that when it finally gets to their day, we want them to be fully kind of enveloped in that. So if that means I got to move tables and chairs, I'm going to move tables and chairs. If that means I got to make a phone call, I'm going to make a phone call, and throw a badass party.
Well, going out like DJs, that's when they get to the DJ part, that they're like so excited.
Yeah.
They're like, this is the fun part. Oh my gosh, it's like
You're the cool ones.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't seem
That's what they
as
tell me anyway.
intimidating to start working with the DJ.
Yeah.
But it's so crucial to select the perfect DJ because they help build the energy, especially if it's not feeling like good energy, like during the dinner reception, kind of low, kind of maybe you weren't like included in the dinner portion. When that DJ starts that music, they're starting the party.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe that's even something to pay attention to when to bring in the DJ, because I always thought when the DJ wasn't part of the dinner service, it was you had to just go off of the surround sound.
Yeah.
Right? I think it's important to have the DJ kind of a part of their dinner reception, don't you think?
Yeah, I would say I've never done a wedding that we weren't involved in at least cocktail hour on. Because again, I think it's so crucial. One, you're getting a feel for the group, kind of better understanding kind of their dynamics. For me, cocktail hour is kind of my opportunity to kind of experiment a little bit, see what people are kind of, what they're vibing with, maybe what they're not leaning into. You kind of start to find your party people, so to speak, and you kind of get to clock the room a little bit. And then obviously kind of that natural segue into dinner, things like, grand marches, things like that are so important for us to be a part of.
Yes,
and the only time that we're not involved in ceremony is if it's not on site for the most part. Otherwise, I think it's so important for us to be there the entirety of the day.
The DJ literally makes or breaks the evening. The vibe, everything that you're talking about. If we've all been to weddings where the music was terrible or the music didn't fit the crowd, and it's so obvious, it really guides the whole direction of the night. I put DJ up very high on the list of things to book. Now, that's not for everyone. Not everyone is that, wants to have that party or whatever. That some people just, put on some background music and I'm going to mingle with my friends and family. But the best weddings that I've been to have always had a rockin' DJ, a great MC who really knew how to guide the night. And I think that a lot of couples don't prioritize the DJ as high as they should.
Yeah, it's one of the few constants throughout the entire evening. Obviously, they prioritize the day and the venue, but when it comes to DJ, they are there the entirety of it as well. And just like you're saying, the music, they a lot of times hyper-focus on the music and what that's going to sound like, and they're not thinking of how is the MC setting it up, what's the energy going to feel like, how are we going to set this up so that at 8:30 when we start to dance, it's not that slow, sluggish start, but they're all itching and they're like, okay, when can we get out there? Let's finish this dessert quick so we can get back out there and dance. And that's our job, and in doing that, it's meeting with them a month before and talking with them and connecting with them, because our job is to enhance them. So some do just want a little bit of a chill party. Some want it to be a dancing, crazy fest. So we allow for them to, find themselves.
When they book the DJ, I believe and think that engaged couples just think about the dance. They don't think about the full day.
Yeah.
So that's when a DJ will actually help educate them, like, you actually need me for the ceremony.
Yeah.
You actually need me for that cocktail hour.
There are so many different times that I've had such wonderful conversations with couples and like talking about that, right? They have a vision of what a DJ is and what a DJ brings to the table, and you start kind of building on that and saying, yes, and we do all of these other things.
But not just 8 to midnight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's more than that.
And the moment you start painting that picture, like you can kind of see like the eyes open up a little bit, the kind of the cloud disappears, like, oh wow, I didn't think of that. And how many times I've heard that phrase on a phone call, which is so awesome. And they're like, and you can do that? I was like, yeah, we got you taken care of. We'll do that for you.
A lot of times engaged couples think that things just happen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just happening. There's a lot of detail that goes into it, and gear matters. Gear matters when we're talking about speakers, when we're talking about wireless microphones for our officiants, lapel mics, all of that stuff. What would you tell engaged couples they should be asking their DJ company to look for as far as gear, as far as skills, experience?
Yeah, so when they're technically interviewing you or the DJ, what are key questions they should ask to be like, okay, he's legit?
Yeah, that's a great question. Man, I don't think I've ever been asked that before. I've been asked a lot of questions, but I don't think I've ever been asked what questions to ask your DJ, which is a funny thing to think about. I think gear does come up, right? A lot of people will ask what we're utilizing and things like that. When you get someone who's a total gearhead as well, you get to kind of like embellish a little, not embellish, but like dive deeper into it a little bit.
Yeah, you're like, dude, those new EVs, those are incredible.
Right, but I think it's understanding their expertise, their experience in the industry. I think that's another thing about DJ specifically, is that there's so many different facets of what a DJ can be. There is, someone who's playing at a bar. There's someone who plays at a nightclub or a festival. There's someone who plays at a wedding, and they're all truly unique. And I think, having someone who's focused on the industry is so important.
Yeah, a club DJ is not the same as a wedding DJ.
No.
A club DJ might give you 15 seconds of each track.
Yeah.
And, we're trying to dance, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to dance.
But the
this whole song, I'm
versatility
singing,
to be able to do all of those different voices, all of those different DJ styles, because that 15 seconds is nice at 11:15 and 11:30. And so we do have a good, group of guys that are able to, offer those different kind of services.
They can put on a different hat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
totally.
They know what their wedding hat and
Totally.
And read the room, because you want everybody on the dance floor,
Oh,
all
yeah.
ages
Yep.
on the dance
Yep.
floor. So you may want the popular song that's on the radio, but hey, grandma doesn't know that song.
Yeah.
My Auntie Janet doesn't know that song.
Yep.
It's timing.
Yeah.
I think getting back to that question of like what to ask, I think
Yeah.
something that's so vital is backups and like contingency plans, because unfortunately things fail, and that's just kind of like part of life. Like we've all had our phone die or something like that, and like what do you do in that instance? And I think having a plan in place is so vital, because it's not an if, it's a when, and we want to make sure that even if something goes wrong, nothing is ever seen, because it doesn't actually affect the day, because you already have plan B, C, D, and E already lined up for if something were to happen.
I was filming a wedding last summer at a barn.
Okay.
Here's
There's a lot of
Here's
bars.
a story.
It was in Wisconsin. The year was 2023. And the DJ was obviously not experienced. He was very quiet, very shy. At one point, the microphone system went out. It ended up being like the soundboard.
Sure.
But this was during speeches. It just went out.
Oh, no.
And so nobody could give any speeches. Their backup plan was to call somebody who was off-site, and they would run them a brand new soundboard. And it took 45 minutes for him to get there, and then the DJ didn't know how to set it up. I mean, it was a mess.
Oh,
Yeah.
So I'm imagining that is not your backup plan.
No, so I think one of my favorite stories that I love to tell is this was earlier on in my DJ career when I first started with Milwaukee Airwaves, and I was at a venue that's in the middle of nowhere, right? There is no call a buddy, get out of jail free card moment.
Yes.
And I could not get the wireless microphone to work before the ceremony, which is why it's so important to show up early and test your stuff, because you don't want that to happen in the moment. And I remember I called Tyler and I said, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I said, I've done steps.
We go through the checks and balances.
Yep.
He knows the stuff, so he's already tried all the things. I'm gonna, when you get a bad customer service call, that's what I was for him. Like, did you turn it off and turn it back on? So I tried all that, and it still wasn't working.
He just goes, what are you gonna do? I said, I don't know. I said, but I got to figure it out, and I got to go. Hang up the phone. We ran, thank goodness we had obviously backups. We ran hardwire instead of wireless, and it didn't affect the experience at all.
No.
But yeah,
That's half the game. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Did anybody notice? Because if nobody notices, then it's a win. That's the game.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, and the other part of it is too just having that plan. Gear's going to fail. I mean, equipment fails. It does happen. So do you have a backup plan? That's great for a wireless microphone. Hardwired mics is a great backup plan. That's a great question for engaged couples to ask their DJ.
I think that's one of my favorite slogans to then kind of, really encourage my team is sometimes you just got to figure it out, make it happen, get creative, MacGyver it, and they do great with that.
So, running a venue, it's very glamorous and very fun. People really think it's a Jennifer Lopez kind of look and feel.
Always, yep.
Always gorgeous, looking the part, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You're flipping tables, you're moving tables, you're shifting room designs, you're up and down and all around, cleaning bathrooms. The
fun stuff.
The fun stuff that a lot of couples don't realize, that the love that goes into running a venue. But they also don't realize the part of the babysitting role.
Yeah.
It's a big role.
Yeah.
So when you pick a venue, you have to also know your people are the team that's going to make sure your crew is safe
Yep.
and babysit your guests. Because when guests show up,
They're ready to
no
party.
rules for some reason.
It's a wedding. Yeah, they're ready to go.
With your experience and like kind of the babysitting hat, I think couples need to learn what we do behind the scenes to keep people safe and having fun, right? Like, I don't think they think about, you know, what shenanigans could happen, and they don't know what could happen behind the scenes, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But there's things that happen that you're making sure that their day is untouched and still rocking and rolling and dancing on the dance floor.
Yep. Yeah. And just like, you know, equipment will cut out, batteries die, right? And you have your redundancies and you have that. When you put 200 people into a room and they are usually consuming alcohol and they're there to have a great time, if you look back on stories of other people that have shared, like of weddings that haven't gone well, it's usually because of a guest or two that got unruly or got out of control. And so we keep an eye on that. So even from a responsibility standpoint, when it comes to like alcohol and things like that, we're making sure our bartenders are trained in how to, like, you know, notice things and see things and make sure that their guests are, you know, having the appropriate amounts of alcohol. But more than that, it is how do you handle it when you start seeing a guest kind of veer off into danger zone? Like, how do you handle it? And so that is a huge element to the relationship that we're building with these couples. We almost, like in a self-sabotaging way, we ask for a lot of communication from our couples. We like to meet with them. Every single couple, we have multiple, I mean dozens if not hundreds of emails and phone calls and text messages and hours of like face-to-face interaction. Because we need to be able to make, of those 100 decisions a night, we need to be able to make 95 of them without consulting them, because it would just wreck their entire evening. And then those big ones, like it's about to rain, should we do this ceremony outside? Those are the ones that we bring to them. And a large part of that is making sure that we understand the type of decisions that they would want us to make in those moments. And then obviously go up to them and feel like they're a good friend of ours. So when we go up to a groomsman or to a relative and we say like, hey, here's what we can do. Another thing I always ask couples is, who is going to be the most responsible adult at your wedding?
Yes.
And that will have and it's like an uncle this or grandma this. And, you know, I can go to her and be like, that guy's going to be a problem. He's like, oh, that's cousin this. That's my nephew. I'll go take care of it. And so always finding who your alliances are with, you know what I mean? That
I think
helps.
it's so important to have the couple pick up the key person.
Yep.
And it can be the personal attendant, but it's usually not.
Yeah.
It needs to be a family
Family
figure.
member, yep.
That if
Has
they
some
come
authority.
over,
Oh,
Uncle
yeah.
Buck comes over.
Yeah, that's it. Knock it off. Yep.
Grabs you by the ear.
Yep.
Says game over,
Yep.
or
Yeah.
or you need to get out of here.
Yeah, and I'll introduce it. I'll tell the couple, like, hey, have him come say hi to me at the beginning of the day, and he'll be like, yeah, you let me know if there's anything I need. And there's times that all of a sudden the groomsman's on top of the table, and I'll look at him, and he'll be like, I'll go talk to him. And I'm like, thanks, sounds good. Then we're dancing on the bar.
Yeah, and it's just good to run through, like, again, the rules of the property one more time before the wedding day, because, you know, you get that sometimes. I don't remember that, because you're so excited to sign on the dotted line when you pick your dream venue.
Yeah.
It's just always good to...
And who wants to talk about all the rules and regulations and all
Yeah.
that? It's just not fun. So to do that when everybody's clean and sober 30 days before the wedding, just
Yeah.
make sure we're all on the same page. And then,
And parents, too, even.
yeah.
Because they just want to know the scoop. They want to
Yeah.
be on the same page. They don't want to be having blinders on when they show
Yep.
up.
Yep.
Yeah. I think like along that line, it's so great because then it's not just you kind of keeping an eye on things. You have, again, those advocates, those people who are in your corner, so to speak, which is really great. And then also people feel involved and like they've got a role, which is great. And I think it's such a great thing for them as well. You know, be like, I helped today happen too. And it's like, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it keeps the day swimmingly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And again, it's all about the couple getting
And that's why they're all
married.
there. That's why everybody's in the room, is to like have them celebrate their love in the best possible way. And however anybody can help, they're always willing to do it.
Yeah.
So, finding the perfect wedding venue. What is the ideal time you think they should start reaching out to you? Right after the ring, right?
Immediately after they get engaged, yeah.
And then how does that process start? Like, book the venue, then what?
Yeah, I mean, every couple is unique, right? And so we treat all of our couples as a unique couple. And so, you know, I would recommend getting engaged and then reaching out to a venue immediately. The worst case scenario is that you will have more options and you won't have less. Sometimes couples are like, I don't know, it's so fresh. Let's wait 3 to 6 months and then reach out, and then we'll get married this year or next year. And then they find that those dates are already gone. There's no harm in sending out a couple of emails just to get the feelers going. And so see what's available. Usually they come in with not a specific date, so I would recommend having a more general time frame. Obviously, if it's your anniversary or it's your wedding, if New Year's Eve or bust, then great, that's who you are, and
Yeah.
be you. But if you're more open-minded to, we're looking at spring or fall, it allows the venue to have a little bit more flexibility. And then something that's been changing more in the wedding industry that I'm excited about is this over-importance on Saturdays is starting to water down, which I'm excited about.
I was just going to ask you that.
A
Yes.
big fan of this. I got married 15 years ago, and I chose to go with a Friday because your family comes into town. They're going to fly in anyway. They take off that extra day. And then, the day of your wedding, you really don't interact with too many of your guests. You get a few minutes with each one of them. And then you have all day Saturday and Sunday to brunch and hang out and open up gifts and tell the stories of what just happened and share photos and all that fun stuff. Versus the Saturday where you have the Friday rehearsal, Saturday's all about the wedding, and then Sunday everyone's on their flights going back home. So coming in with the open mind of we'll explore Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays, allow for more flexibility. Sometimes there's really nice discounts. There's all kinds of benefits, or a more peak date with that outdoor weather, all kinds of stuff.
I did the exact opposite in a similar fashion. Mine was on a Sunday. So same thing, family came in Thursday, Friday, you get all weekend with everybody, which is really awesome.
Yeah.
Kind of swapping stories, catching up with family you don't see a whole lot. I've got family all over the country and outside of the country, so it was really great to spend time with them leading up to the day.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
I love about Friday weddings is they always have their party pants on.
Oh, yeah.
And they're working, and you're like, what are you doing tonight? I'm going to a wedding.
Yeah.
And on Saturday, you're kind of waiting for the wedding.
Drink a little bit earlier,
Yeah,
so you go home a little bit
I'm
earlier.
gonna have a little
We're going
person.
party tonight.
And you only have Sunday, you
There
got
might be more
church or
people
whatever.
in the ceremony being a little buzzed up already because it's a Saturday. It's
Yeah.
their day to relax
And they get 2 days to recoup, so they're good to go.
Yeah, so Friday, there's a little pep in the step. Also, off-season weddings.
Yeah.
I love off-season weddings. I don't know about you guys, but I think when it's off-season, guests actually come more dressed.
Yeah.
Because it's something to look forward to.
Yeah, sometimes it's a lot of couples. I mean, you hear it from your guests. There's a little bit of a burnout sometimes. And I'm going to 9 weddings this year, 8 weddings this year. So, and when it's off peak, it allows people to come in and really dial it in, have a great time. Totally different attire in Wisconsin, right? And so I can really mix it all up.
I love when couples lean into it too, right? So if they're a Halloween couple, right, and really leaning into it in a way, or winter, and
anything unique.
Yeah, exactly. They truly make it theirs. And anytime you lean into something, I think that's the best way to do it.
I like off-season weddings from a videographer, photography standpoint, because it's sometimes you get snow, sometimes you get all that different fashion that you wouldn't get in the summer, where you have maybe a mink shawl that you get to work with on the wedding day. And it just adds a different element. Plus, like you said, the fatigue from going to all of these weddings for your guests, I got another wedding to go to. You kind of become the shining moment then with your
100%.
January wedding or with your
And just
February
everything's
wedding.
cheaper. Hotels, flights, everything's just a little bit less expensive.
But also, when you hire great wedding professionals, they're going to make it pretty.
Yeah.
No matter what, leaves or no leaves,
Yep.
snow or no snow, you hired professionals, and they're going to find the beauty in the day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So again, I just think off seasons there's no off season. The whole year is a season.
Yeah.
But I don't when it's busy season, you kind of, like you said, you get kind of lost with the other weddings. Be different. Go rogue. Have a Wednesday wedding. Why not?
Yeah. Yep.
And the other thing too is we're wedding vendors. We get tired, right? I get a little tired by September, October.
Yes,
It
I
never
agree
happens.
with
I'm a
this.
robot.
And so an off-season wedding is an opportunity for us to have recharged our batteries.
Yeah.
And not that we're not super pumped for all the other weddings, but we're a little more tired than we are. But man, when you get that, I got a February wedding. This is
The
awesome. I'm
team
excited to
shows
get back
up
into
and
it.
they're so excited because they haven't had a wedding for a
Yeah.
couple weeks. And they're
Yeah.
like, we got a wedding in
Yeah.
February.
Yeah.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of those bartenders and DJs, they might go. They'll in a 3-month window in summer, they'll DJ twice a weekend, and then they'll go through January, February, March, and they might DJ once or twice or bartend once or twice. So when they're coming in, they're fresh, they're ready to go, they're eager for it, they're ready to do that experience.
Well, thanks, guys, so much for hosting us today at the
Our
Society.
pleasure.
Yeah.
And just for sitting on these benches, couches, 2 chairs, 2 birds.
There you go. There you go.
But honestly, you guys are just always just a great team. You just spoil us every time we're hanging out with you. You bring energy into my world of Wisconsin Bride and even more. So I just appreciate you both so much.
Thank you for the opportunity. We're big fans of you and Dan and everything you guys are doing at Wisconsin Bride. It's got some new life breathed into it, and that's become very obvious to us. it is a great resource for couples. It's a great resource for all of us wedding professionals. So keep doing your thing.
Yeah.
Thank
you so much.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for tuning in. You can follow us where, Dan?
So if you're listening on Spotify right now, you can watch this. I mean, we want to see what Tyler and Kendrick look like. You can check
You
us out.
want to, I
You
promise.
do. You do. I'm not going to say who you look like, but man. You look like that.
Well, now I want to know.
How fast can you swim? That's my question.
I've gotten that. That's a compliment. That's a compliment. That's a big win for me.
That is a compliment. Yeah, so check us out at Wedding Day Podcast. You can see it on YouTube. You can, of course, if you're watching on YouTube right now, you can listen in the car, wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcast, et cetera, et cetera. Thanks again. We'll talk to you soon. See you. Bye.
See you. Bye.